Okay, we are back. We are live. And tonight we are talking with Janet Ramsey. And
Cassie.
Cassie. Thank you.
Yes.
All I have is Janet's profile
She's
on.
our go-to. Yeah.
Founder,
Go-to
founder and
person.
investigator for paranormal Phenomena Paranormal Investigators at. Let me get over here to the other page. Uh, I want to
From
make sure I get this
Westland.
right.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
is there a different um is that all the whole name for it? Did I say it already?
Phenomena is the name of our group. Phenomena
Phenomena
Paranormal
Paranormal
Investigators.
Investigators. Okay.
Shorten it up, we're PPI.
PPI.
TBI.
All right, no problem. Thanks for joining us tonight, ladies. And you're
Thank
in
Exactly.
you.
Michigan, right?
Pardon?
You said you're in Michigan, Westland, Michigan.
Yep.
Westland, Michigan.
We were
Um,
Just outside of
that's
Detroit.
is outside of Detroit.
yeah.
Yep.
Okay, and Detroit is remind me, it's to the east of the state, isn't it?
Yeah. Southeast.
Yeah, you're over closer to was it Lake
Ohio.
Huron?
We're 30 minutes from Ohio.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So that's Lake Erie over in that area, then, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, big lake. Okay.
Yep.
So
This
what I
is
usually
Carol.
oh,
She's
we
another
got another
admin.
person added,
Yeah.
Carol.
Hi,
Hi, Carol.
how
Woo!
are you?
Done up for the show. You look beautiful.
Oh, I just
So,
took my hair down.
so this is your crew, right?
I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Three
I'm
of
just
the four
helping.
main members.
Okay, so you got
Yep.
four members.
We're all the founding members
Her
here.
and Janet are sisters.
She
All
used to
right.
be my brother. That's a different show.
You know
Are
she's
you
gonna
ready?
keep that up. She's gonna get us all dizzy.
Yeah.
Get used to that.
All right, so what I usually do is I ask a question. The first question right off the bat when I ask it is to basically let people get to know you a little bit better if they don't, if they don't know where your profile is or find your profile or anything. And then you can all answer if you want. You take turns definitely because all three talking at once might not be able to
That's
hear.
what we're known for.
So the question is this: what got you started in the paranormal field?
Who wants
And
to go first?
who wants to go first here? We don't have
They're
straws.
kind of all the same story, but different things.
Yeah, I think we pretty much all had our experiences through the years.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we decided, just for fun, a couple of years ago, we decided we're going to take a spooky road trip. And it turned into now we're investigating. That's what our road trip ended up being. And the more and more we looked into it, well, we want to know what's really going on here and there. And we went to the Lizzie Borden house and we went to Salem, stayed at the Hotel, and
Gettysburg.
we
That was
went to
big.
Gettysburg. It ended up on a 9-day road trip.
And we still stayed friends.
And
Really.
yeah,
Long,
when
long
we were
road.
planning this road trip, we formed this group. And we are like, this is what we all really want to know. We want to know what's out there. Because we've all had some type of experience throughout our lives.
I lived in a haunted apartment for 7 years, 20 years ago. And during that time, I joined the Michigan Ghost Watchers 20 years ago. And I don't think that team exists anymore because I wanted to figure out what was going on in my apartment. And I had lots of things. And it spoke to me. I could hear audio. I never saw it. Things would move. I had kids, and their toys would just come rolling up to you and flashlights at you. And in the middle of the night, anything that noise making toys would go off in the closet. And I remember one night getting up and going, what the hell? And I went in the closet, grabbed this guitar. I was going to take the batteries out of it, and there was no batteries in it, and it's clean. So it was kind of
I've
freaky,
heard
and I
that
was
before.
afraid because every night I would go to sleep and I would hear, just as I was about to drift off, I'd hear right in my ear, and I could almost feel it. To where I started, like, I tell everybody that questions us, like, what's the first thing you need to know to be a paranormal investigator? I said, how to look like an idiot. Because you talk to the air and the walls and nothing that's there. You're just, hey, little toy, who's driving you tonight? You know? And so you got to have a level of batshit crazy comfortable, you know? And, so when that stuff was going on and I had no answers, I started to join that team. And then I moved and it didn't come with me and it calmed down. They also grew up in Detroit with stuff going on in their house. And we all grew up together. So we would have, we're all horror movie people and Halloween people. And we would have conversations and we're like, well, we should just go investigate. And then we plan this trip. And next thing you know, we're on Facebook and we're a team. And now we're getting calls, and now we're working at Eloise Insane Asylum and giving tours, and boom, it blew up.
Yeah. Been crazy, but fun.
Much fun.
It is a lot of fun. And it makes it more exciting when you actually get some sort of evidence.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Carol, did you want to
Carol?
add to that question before we move forward?
No,
No,
go ahead.
no.
I'm good.
Well, what would
You're
you?
good. What got you into it, Carol?
We'll get
Yes.
into it.
What was your experience? What got you into it?
I would hear things. I babysat at a house, and they had like a TV room, and so I would be in the TV room, and it was like in the middle of the house. So you had to walk through the living room and down the hallway and stuff to get there. And I'd be like every other babysitter, laying on the couch sleeping, and then I'd hear the door, or I'd hear what I thought was the door, and so you sit up like, yeah, I better wake all night. And I'd hear these footsteps walking down the hall, and so I'm waiting, and there was nobody there. I babysat in that house for years, and it was like, are you kidding? And just living with my sister and my mother, they're just like maggots to the freaky stuff. And so I think they had more experiences than me per se, but I was living it. So it's just been, I don't remember not being interested in the paranormal. I don't even remember that time in my life. I don't ever remember not believing and not wanting to know more.
Yeah.
You know, I was a teenager in the 70s, and we all had pajama parties, and everybody had a Ouija board, and we did the levitation, and we had seances, and we all looking in the mirror, a Bloody Mary, and it was always so intriguing to me, and it never went away. It never went away. And I think I've always been more open to it, so I think I may have had more experiences than my friends and stuff, but most of them didn't believe in that kind, not really believe. You know what I mean? They said they did, but I don't hear it. What?
We've been trying to exercise you for years.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But no, it's just been a lifelong interest. It really has. I was always intrigued with, what was that show that was on with Leonard Nimoy?
In search of.
In search of.
Yes.
Yes. Well, growing up with those shows. Yes.
They're all back on Netflix and Hulu.
I know. I love it.
Yeah.
Right.
They do have new In Search Of as well.
Yeah, I've seen that. I love all of
the guy.
those.
Now, see,
Who
Leonard Nimoy was Spock in Star Trek.
Absolutely.
And the guy that played Spock in J.J. Abrams' 3 movies that he made of Star Trek. He's the host of the new In Search Of.
That's
cool.
It was Spock.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm thinking of the other one. Didn't Captain Kirk in one of the newer Star Treks? He was also on Maybe not
I
unsolved
don't think it was a
mysteries,
paranormal
but
type show, but it was a reality
I
show.
thought he did something.
You talking about William Shatner?
Yeah.
Him too, but there's another guy.
He's got one called like Unexplained or something like that with an X, real big one.
Oh, yeah.
The X
Yeah.
over.
Remember
That's
that,
like
yeah.
Shatner's new thing.
Right. Okay. Okay.
I think it's
Well,
called Medicine Ball.
yeah, it's just another venue for him to overact.
He doesn't.
Where would we be without him?
No, everybody likes to tease about Shatner, but he was a good actor.
Yeah.
He did well.
No, he really was.
Um, so when you go out and do your investigations, what kind of equipment do you guys use?
Oh,
Everything.
bit of everything. We've really been getting into dowsing rods, huh, Carol?
Yes, I love the dog.
I have been hearing a lot of people talk about the dowsing rods.
No,
And
I have to agree, though.
I have used dowsing rods when I was younger, but I only used it to find water. I never used it
Find
for
water, right, right.
Water or cold.
Yeah, yeah.
just
No,
water.
I think they're amazing. They are, for me anyway, so accurate. So
Now they're
accurate.
calling.
Yeah, she is
She's
really
our
hit-
dowser. She's our team
She is really hit
expert
on,
on
this,
that.
yes.
And she'll say, I don't want that title, but she goes out there and tell them how you earn that.
I
Most
lost
amazing
my debit card.
with dowsing rod.
I lost my debit card and I called the place where I thought I lost it. And they told me they didn't have it. So I was going to call the bank and cancel the card. And my mom said, why don't you get your sticks? I said, you know what, Mom, I'm gonna. So I got the rods and I asked where my card was. And the damn rods, I followed it outside, maybe go outside. And then I had already just tore my car apart. And I said, well, where can I find my debit card from here? And it pointed in the general direction of the place I thought it was. So I said, come on, Mom, we're going for a ride. So I get to said destination 4.8 miles away from my house. And I said, so I get out and there's all these people out because it's daytime. And I'm trying to make these rods really little and trying to like do this so people don't see what I'm doing and think I'm nuts. But so there was somebody parked where I had been parked. So I had to wait for them to leave. And that's where it pointed to. It pointed to where I lost it. And I said, okay, did somebody steal my debit card? It says, nope. I said, did somebody find it? And it said, yep. And I said, then where is it? Point it to the building. Go in the building. And I said, hey, I know I called you just a little while ago and asked about my card, but what's the protocol when you find one? And they said, we write a note, hang it up, and then it goes in the safe. And she goes, you want me to look in the safe, don't you? And I'm like, yep. So she says, what's the name on the card? And I gave her my name. And then I said, she brings up, then she comes out a few minutes later and says, well, what's the bank on the card? And I told her, and she handed me the card. And I get up in her face, I'm like, do you know what dowsing rods are? I said, my God told me to come here. And it was so ridiculous. But it was, but my gosh, how do you argue that? I would have called it in and said it's gone and I need a new one. And I didn't, thanks to my mother, but we had just as an experiment, we went to a cemetery. We had a name, but we didn't know where the grave site was. It led us there. I'd ask the question, tell them who we were looking for, walk a couple rows over, and ask the question again. And it took us to the grave site.
Twice, actually, that day. Twice.
Yeah. The first time we did it was at that cemetery in Belleville.
And straight on. It didn't lead us in any other direction.
No.
Straight to it.
And it's nuts.
It was crazy.
I noticed this time.
Forest Hill.
Pardon?
I said I could have used those at Forest Hill.
Yeah.
What happened?
Right, what happened to you?
Oh, it was a cemetery, and I used to when I was a kid. I lived right across the street from the cemetery.
Uh-huh.
My one grandmother is buried there. And I used to be able to find her grave by where I was positioned from my grandma's house, my other grandma's house, right across the street. We were out there doing an investigation, and I was just because we were there, I was trying to find it, and I couldn't find it. I was like walking all over that place, lost.
Well, it's
They're
like
not listening, you guys. We're laughing at her. What Teresa? What are you doing?
I'll
Right.
take you to Forest Hill, and I'll take you with the dowsing rods. But after that, it was
No.
after I found him, I wanted to call my sister, and she didn't answer her stupid phone. And I'm like, who do I call? I need to call somebody and tell them what just happened because it was like crazy.
it's because she had a stupid phone. She didn't have a smartphone.
She didn't have a smartphone. She had a stupid phone. Exactly.
I still love that story, Carol. And your mom's like, why don't you get your sticks?
Yeah.
There you
I'm
go.
like, okay, I will.
It was a challenge. You
Yeah.
won the challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I can't use dowsing rods because I hold them
Yeah, she does.
and they just spin around in a circle like a freaking helicopter whirlybird.
Wait
is
for the
Crazy.
listener.
They go
So,
fast.
so you're trying to take off.
It's the funniest thing. It's like, and they do just uncontrollably. Then they go in different directions. One will be going this way, and yeah. See, I can't do that.
I don't know what it is, but I had one person tell me that there's a spirit with me, and that's why they do that. And another person just say, which I am empathic too, but they say I harbor too much energy and it just spins them. I don't know.
It
I
could
think
be.
she's
It could be
insane.
that your energy flow isn't you aren't controlling it completely.
Right.
Which I wasn't trying to. I was just holding them, and they just.
Yeah.
They do.
It's like a.
It's funny because it happens every single time.
Well, and Joe also noticed that you guys have a YouTube channel. So, what did you use?
Getting there.
What did you
Yeah,
use?
We have a few videos.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that.
We haven't done much,
Yeah, we
but
have a channel. We have a logo.
we have a logo.
We just have
Still
to figure out how
driving.
to work it. We just have to figure out how to work it. We
There.
got to get the YouTube for Dummies book.
Here we go. Yeah, that's us. Yeah, we did
Thanks.
we got the videos from we did the Northwest Flight
Is that
255.
the one out of Chicago or the Chicago?
No, that was in Detroit.
Metro Airport.
Yes, and that was pretty interesting. I mean,
Oh,
we
that
didn't
was-
get a lot of evidence, but at one point you could smell fumes like gas.
Mhm.
We did have that happen to us,
Kerosene.
and with the explosion being right there, who knows?
Well, yeah,
Well,
you never know.
remember,
Everybody that smelled it. It wasn't just like
But
one.
what did you for videoing that for recording that? What'd you use? What was it? Cell phones or was it an actual camera?
We had a video camera. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just a standard. We're like I said, we didn't start the team gung ho to be like the next
We're
famous
just-
people. We're grandmas, and we
we
all
need something to do.
have, and we're
Oh, that's
busy.
okay. We're a couple of
And-
grandpas.
Something
Right.
to keep us off the street.
See,
I'm
he's
only
Our editor, she's learning it as she goes. So
Yeah.
it's not,
Yeah.
you know.
So these videos, they're not 100% great, but I think I
No,
did a
that's
good
fine.
job.
You get the point across.
Not knowing what I'm doing.
You're not going to win any of those.
Everybody has
You
to
do all
start
right.
somewhere, and they have.
Yes, exactly.
But no, I
And
was
like I
curious
said, our group
what
is
kind of
new.
equipment you
We're
use.
just throwing on our second anniversary next month.
Cool. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh, it sounds like you're just as new at it as we are.
All
How
right.
long have you guys been involved?
We started last year.
Oh, okay.
last
But
March, but
but but I have been involved with the paranormal since I was like 8.
you
So
And
were.
that's how we are. So when people
I
ask
was
you,
I actually did something stupid. When I was 8 years old, when I was 8 years old, I used a Ouija board by myself
Oh,
mm,
I've never done that.
with no
No,
one
I
around.
have when I was a child too. I can't remember what age, maybe 10,
Yeah,
11.
Chris.
I got a story with it. Let me hear it.
But yeah, I have done it.
Oh, it
Hiya,
was
Chris.
weird. It was weird. I was sitting there in it wasn't a warm day. It was kind of a fall, kind of during the fall. We didn't have it hot in the house or anything. I'm sitting there facing the wall with the board in my lap, and I'm asking questions, and it's answering me, and I'm sweating profusely. I mean, like the temperature had risen about 30 degrees around me. And then the very last thing it said it wanted to take me to hell with it.
See,
Wow, nice.
told you them ain't good for you.
So did you go?
Yeah, he got
Oh, I
kicked out
got kicked out. I tried
for
selling
selling
ice
ice
cream.
cubes.
Let me ask you guys, what do you feel about the Ouija board?
Um,
Our
it
group has mixed
it could
feelings.
be a
Yeah.
tool. It could be a tool for good, or it could be a tool for bad. I've had um, I've had some weird experiences with it myself. Obviously, when I was 8 years old, and
Hold on one
I've
minute.
had
Teresa,
Yes.
could you mute yourself if you're driving and your blinkers are on? Thank you.
but
Sorry, it unmuted
You
itself.
gotta yell at somebody.
This is our team.
There's a board for you.
Chris, there you go. Yeah, Chris says he's got a board that's claimed to be cursed that a client gave him.
Oh, yeah, I see
Hey,
that. Huh.
when when I got older, I kept my understanding of everything, and I kept with focusing on being a kid for one, but I had always had that fascination.
Yeah.
And the best part was I grew up the house I grew up in. I was a quarter mile away from a cemetery, and we'd always go down to that cemetery, whether it was during the day, during the night, whatever, and just do our thing. Me and a couple of friends that lived in the area. So we'd be out riding our bikes. We'd go past that cemetery all the time, and then we'd go off into it. Have our BB guns with us. This is back in the 80s, 90s. Take the BB guns with us. Go hunting squirrels. Go hunting birds. Whatever. So when I got 16, when I turned 16, I started having an interest in Wicca, in the Wiccan faith, and I started practicing that. And then I just kept going with it until I wound up getting married. And once I got married, I kind of hung it up because the woman I married wound up. She kind of got freaked out about it. She didn't understand it. She didn't even want to take time to understand it.
Yeah.
So I've I've been I've been dabbling in all that stuff. So I hear all kinds of stories with the Ouija boards too. So I had a friend that was telling me about one that they were using, and they couldn't get it to do anything until one of the guys turned his head to the side. He said, "I don't give a shit what comes through. I just want to know something's there."
Oh, no.
And that was the wrong thing for him to say.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely wrong thing for him to say, because
Hmm.
he said from that point on it was just chaos. They had all kinds of crap happening in the room.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, he said there was stuff flying off the walls.
That's
And
nuts.
you guys want to do this.
But
So
see, here's the thing. I think I'm of the belief that when you're using a spirit box, if you have a seance, all of those things,
Very
you
exactly.
go into the other side.
Yeah.
So I think it's about your intent, and I think it's about maybe closing things out like you should and ending a session.
Yes.
You know,
Well,
and
that's the thing with the Ouija boards. Whenever you're using them, you got to have an open mind for one, but you
mhm,
also got to make sure that you're not accepting any of the bad energies. You got to make sure that
absolutely.
your energies are going to be pure and good. And then whenever you are finished with your session, you always say goodbye,
Yeah.
Always. We
because
do
if you
that.
I
don't
do
say
that with
if
the
We
you
do
spirit.
don't say
investigating.
goodbye, if you don't say goodbye, you don't that does not close what you
Right.
have opened,
You
and
didn't.
it leaves it open for anything on that side
That's
to
right.
lead through.
Just remember to use your manners and you're all right. You say goodbye. And that's the way I feel about the spirit. Anytime we talk to spirits, we always thank them and we say goodbye and um, we don't say come with us. um, yeah, it's
In
I
the
think it's
beginning, a
all
couple of
kind
us
of the
did.
same
We
thing.
weren't.
What?
I said in the beginning, a couple of us did, and we had to learn to stop being
Yeah,
so friendly.
a couple of us. I think that was me. But I wasn't saying to come out of the building. I was saying you can follow us down the hall if you want, but
Yeah, but we weren't specific. So just like he said with the Ouija board, they can
sure.
interpret anything as an invite.
Right,
You have
right.
Right.
to invite them to
Right.
come.
Because once it's open, once the energy is flowing through the board, then it's gonna flow whether you're using it or not.
Right.
That's where a lot of people make their mistakes. They don't shut the energy off. They don't
Yeah.
close that door. And the best way to do that is to actually end the session by saying thank you and goodbye.
Right.
Thank you for speaking with me. Thank you for
Yeah.
speaking with us. Whichever way it is there, and then goodbye, and then that way they know that you're closing that portal, you're closing that door, and then
Right. And
I'm the one on the team, the one out of the whole team. I'm the one. I ain't messing with it. I ain't doing it. They have a day picked out. Come play with the Ouija board day. We're gonna do it because somebody bought a Ouija board, and I'm like, I'm not gonna be
Because the
there.
rest of us
I got
didn't want to try it.
I got
If you
two
want to try it, I ain't doing it. And they say it's the same as a spirit box.
I
I
do think that.
know the spirit box and all of that.
it kind of
I'm
is.
trying to talk to living humans that crossed over. And I feel, this is me, I feel the Ouija board opens to too many other entities that I don't want a part of. I've already said when I encounter that demon, I'm out and I'll refer the case. I'm not dealing with
I
demons.
like where she's coming from. So,
I
You
I
two are
agree with
wrong.
her.
You are wrong.
what's gonna
And
what's
better
gonna
than
come
you want.
through
But when I
what
use
will
the
come
spirit box, I do the same thing. When I finish the session, I ask it to step back and I tell it goodbye.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
I do it
that's
with
pretty
anything
much
I'm
what you
doing.
gotta do with
You
all of
talk
it.
to me that way.
Yeah.
Step back.
Step back. Goodbye.
Hey, I got some personal space here, okay? You gotta step out of it here. But no,
Nope.
So this, I would
with the
like to
Ouija
introduce
boards.
Teresa.
Yeah.
She's been kind of roaming around. She is one of our newbies.
You're
You
still
can
on mute.
unmute
There
yourself
you go.
now. But it is their podcast, so if we're going to make noise, we're going to keep the mute on. But I would like to introduce you.
All right. Well, I would say, I'm sorry. I had to do something really important, like take the
That's
quarantine
fine.
box over to my son for my grandkids. And then I was like, oh, son of a bitch. And I'm like, so I'm like, I'm like tuning into you guys. And I'm like,
You could have just tuned in later.
hurry up before they get on. I said, give me a kiss goodbye. So now I'm going to be switching over to my computer just as soon as I can find it.
She's used to our show, Ghost Buzz, which is on Thursday nights, 10 weeks on, 10 weeks off. We're not on right now. We'll be on in the new year. But Ghost Buzz, it's BYOB online. Anything goes. We have some radical conversations sometimes. It's hilarious. And I think when we're online, our team's used to just letting it go and
That's hard.
So
Find
we're
out, I
real
guess.
good.
There's no censoring on this one because
Well, so
we're on
pretty
Facebook.
soon.
No super
We're on
gore there, man.
Facebook and YouTube. This actually, when we're on this, it streams both to Facebook and YouTube,
Oh,
and you
Well,
can
that's
cuss
good to
up a
know.
storm if you want to. We can even interview someone who has Tourette's if we wanted to. It's not going to get canceled.
Who told you? You guys said you wouldn't tell. Sometimes I think I do.
So, what kind of what's the best experience you guys have had so far out
Ooh,
in your investigations?
a hard one.
Well, I didn't say I was going to be easy.
Best.
Like,
What is the best?
that I hate.
you know, every experience I have with these ladies is the best experience. For the first 5 minutes.
I think for me, our road trip was the best. And the fact on the road trip, I think I was really impressed with Gettysburg, and being in Lizzie Borden's house was exciting.
Yeah.
And the best, like the first year we did Eloise and we were assisting and we got in that building, I was impressed with Eloise.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Well, I gotta say, when we did the reenactments,
Right. That was
that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool.
yeah. Yeah, and last night we were there. There's actually a bit of video on our page. We talked light anatomy.
Spit it
But-
out, Janet.
Molly.
Blah, blah, blah. But we call one of those. It's, it's got a stump. It's on our
I
page.
like
We'd
one
like
of-
anybody's views on it.
One of my favorite piece of evidence we got, because I like going and stuff, but I don't know that we actually have like actual legit evidence.
Shut up.
I'm not an orc person.
We're always doubting
I
everything.
can't stand teams that throw every little circular lit up object. Look what we got, a spirit. No, he got done. No, that's a fruit fly. No, that's a moth. You know,
Yeah, we have one after the reenactments. Come on.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Because we did a reenactment actually when we taught it.
at Eloise.
At
So we
Eloise.
can
You know what
Yeah.
Eloise
Yeah,
is?
see?
You're throwing the name out like people know what
I
it
know.
You might
Eloise
wanna
Asylum in
explain-
Michigan.
It's an insane asylum that has been closed. It was actually a huge compound with
There were
several
71 buildings on the property.
hospitals. It had its own fire department, its own post office.
So,
They
city.
need their own electricity,
So it was a huge, like,
slaughtered their own meat.
square mile or more. I forget how many acres are in it. But now it's down to a few buildings. It was abandoned. Now they're doing tours at the asylum. And Devil's Night, but prior to Devil's Night, I was involved in a filming there. And we were dressed as medical people. And me and another guy in this one scene, we actually had our costumes like pulled by nothing. We were like, holy shit. So when we went back and I told my teammates, I'm like, we got to go dressed. I'm like, everybody pulled. We work for healthcare people. I had a lab coat, get scrubs on. We
Yeah,
put on the
that's
doctor look. And the funny thing, because I said we're going to get something, I just had a feeling. And the funny thing is because the people that paid to go in, we were the ghost hunters on the whole 5th floor. So we let them use our equipment. They paid for a ghost hunting experience. So they were talking to the ghost hunters. They got to use their equipment. They brought some of their own stuff. They got to do whatever they wanted to do. So here we are in costume. And I had on a lab coat. I looked very professional. I had my hair up. I looked very doctorish, not nurses.
Yeah.
Because
I
I'm
think
just a
that's why-
receptionist and scrub. So I had to look better, right? So I wanted to play doctor. So I would have groups of people around a spirit box we had stationed. It would be chattering back and forth. And I would walk up in my doctor uniform
Oh, there
and
she is.
it would shut up. And I'm like, what the hell? And I would leave and go down the hall. There'd be a different spirit box. And the people on the tours are chattering with it. They're like, this is great. And I'd walk up, silence. I was intimidating the spirits. It backfired on me. They wouldn't communicate with me. They were like, here comes the
Yeah, she
doctor.
would walk in, and anything we were doing,
It's
we were
shut down.
getting things, getting communication, and Cassie would walk in, and everything would go silent.
Everything would stop.
That's a form of evidence. I wasn't getting anything, but it was shut down. So
The
that's
doctor's in.
right. So don't go as
Yeah,
a doctor in a
don't
sales
say
box.
anything incriminating. Here comes the doctor.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Pretty much.
It was weird.
But
Yeah,
when we got
that
the
was
anatomy,
really
I
weird.
was dressed as a patient.
And
And
he was just in the hydrotherapy tub.
yeah, I was in the tub,
Yep.
looking like I'm getting, the treatment done. And then I got out of the tub, and then we catch this Phenomena just going all around me.
Yeah,
it's kind
it's
of
weird.
weird.
And it's weird. It's not.
Stared it.
He does this with her gown, and the thing doesn't move, so it's not dust.
Yeah, it's
It
not a
looks
fly.
like
It's not a dust. The
Like, do
motion.
I know you?
Right?
There's this cover in there. It's
It
so
was
weird.
pretty cool.
You have to. We're gonna send it. I'm sorry. What are your names?
It's a
Guys,
But you don't read
Mark,
Mark and Joe.
That's insane, Joe.
Marvin, Joe. Hi,
Yeah.
I'm Joe.
Mark.
But we gotta send that to you.
Mike.
I want you to see it. I want more.
Mike and Joe. I'm
no,
sorry.
it's the Mark and
Is it
Joe.
Moke? Moke?
Shut up.
She's tongue tied.
Don't mind me. Come on.
Well, we've been prepping for the show on Eastern time. So we were ready at 6.
Well, that's okay because
So we've had an hour more of these.
you know
I-
we're at.
We're pretending it's Ghostbusters.
Yeah,
We're
was.
aren't you?
Speaking of which, I'm
We
gonna
have
get
to
on
break Ghostbusters cups for the occasions.
I want one of
You
those.
gotta talk to Lori. She makes them. It's not my crap.
Oh no,
Yes,
Lori.
you do.
Oh,
Mine
that's
just-
all right. I had
I do?
So have you
we
ever
did a
heard of
show-
Halloween?
We did a show where I actually had like say this is a glass. I had that much whiskey in the bottom of it twice.
Oh. Mhm.
Oh, Teresa.
What?
Reminds me of that last
love whiskey.
our end of season whatever.
Oh, we're not talking about that. You be quiet.
Oh no! Oh no!
She enjoyed her first year, her first few months with us.
Oh no, that was awful. And we're not talking about that.
I would never. I would never.
No, why is that, Teresa? Is there something that you're hiding?
Let's just say that I have not acted that way drunk since I was 16.
We're a bad
She
instinct.
was gone.
Just totally gone.
And I have not, it was awful. It was embarrassing. I had to apologize to people.
Our
So-
first
It was
real
terrible.
big shot with us. And,
Yeah.
That was one of
Bring
those
them back
where
with us.
you start out up here crying, and then all of a sudden, by the time the show's in, you're down here because you're sliding under the table.
No, I was throwing up on
Very
Cassie.
much came around. Yeah. And then I saw it coming.
And the only good thing about it is that if Cassie hadn't known me for many, like 30 plus years before that, she would have been like, we need to get rid of her.
but we just all met her.
Yeah, they just met her. She did a couple
We had to
things
talk her out of it.
at our end of the year show, and she's like, "Well, it's Ghost Buzz." But we at our last show of Ghost Buzz is always a contest show. We do a game show, and So we had someone from Great Lakes Paranormal, somebody from their team come and they bartended for us for the show so we could be, celebrity game show hosts. And it's a production. And
Okay, you brought up
we
the
came ready
alcohol.
to play and not experienced. And woo, honey.
You brought up alcohol. Now I'm curious. What's your drink of choice?
Who?
We're old men.
We're doing a round robin here. We'll start with Cassie.
Tonight I got wine. I just got wine tonight, but yeah, usually
No. Not what are you drinking now? What is your actual drink of choice?
Whiskey.
All of them.
either 7 and 7s or I like Captain Morgan. I'm a Morgan girl.
Carol.
Oh, mine? And all of them.
Well, we're doing a round
Yeah,
robin.
Carol.
I
it
like
really
the
don't
drink
matter.
here. We've
She
been
just
doing
got
shots
something,
and
but
beer.
she's a good person.
So we've been doing shots and beer, and that's been pretty good. Because we've been
We
doing.
have a thing now. Tell them what's your trunk.
What's in your trunk, Carol?
We were doing ghost buzz at locations. So at locations like a museum and stuff, we couldn't take stuff in the drink. So I had a bar in my trunk. And we called it bar in a bag because there was this bag with all those little airplane shots. And I'd replenish it every
No,
week.
we're too young for that. We don't know when airplanes used to do little shots on on a plane.
Too young, my ass.
Okay, Teresa, what was your drink of
All
choice?
they do is
My drinking choice actually is whiskey and Pepsi. The problem with that night is that I started keto and didn't realize that with keto, even though it's sugar, alcohol, and diet Pepsi, my body didn't process it correctly. And they were making these insane shots and everybody was like drinking them. And yeah, it was just not, it is not a
We're more
memorable.
seasoned. It's been a while for her. And then she came with us.
Now she's back.
For the road
She's
trip.
good now.
Now I'm good.
She can drink anybody under the table.
Hey, Joe, it sounds like I got some competition.
Well, that's me. I don't drink.
Oh, bullshit. He's a tequila person.
I'm not a big drinker, but I think when we do Ghost Buzz, that's just my.
It kind of
It's my release.
just
7 years ago.
And you're from home and you mentioned YouTube and being you guys are grandpas. I just wanted to say Blippi's going to bed now. Have you discovered Blippi yet? Say hi. Okay, good night.
He has come in.
See, eventually kids are going to be going to sleep dressed like Cassie and Janet.
That's scary.
It is actually.
We gotta get gimmicks. You guys too. We need gimmicks, man.
So what's on your bucket list?
What's what? I'm sorry.
On the
Bucket list.
Bucket.
Something you
Oh,
want
there's
to
so
do.
many of them.
right. That's hard to say. A
I know.
fantasy bucket list would be Transylvania.
Yes.
Dracula's castle,
Dracula's castle.
Romania or Transylvania. I would love to go to that castle.
Mm.
Oh.
I could make it. Never mind.
I want to go to the White Witch's
Bucket
house.
list. You know what? I've always wanted to go to. Well, I did one of mine, which was the Lizzie Borden. I loved Lizzie Borden.
I wish that I was part of the group
So
then.
we did do that on a road trip. But next, the next thing that really, the Bell Witch.
Oh, look at Mom said good job.
Oh, yep. There's
Yeah.
one.
I think you're doing a good job.
I can't hear you.
Who?
You.
You can't hear me?
I
Oh, we
couldn't
can hear you.
The dad can hear Carol.
I didn't hear you. And I didn't hear Insane Joe either earlier.
Yeah, see, I told
Oh,
you.
Dracula's
Put that mic
castle.
under
I
your
think
head.
he said he could make it happen. We're down.
You wouldn't know
The
that Dad
castle.
could hear Carol.
What about you, Carol? Where
Maybe
did you
put
want to
the
go?
mic up under his face a little
Gosh,
more.
there's so many. I don't even know. You know, I'm also fascinated by serial killers. So maybe I'd like to follow a serial killer's path and do
With the
investigations.
dowsing rods.
Well, you know that
I could.
Come on, Joe.
Charlie!
bet you didn't know you were talking to Charlie, did you?
You
That would be an awesome one, yeah.
Charlie, that was the
Hey,
first
Carol,
You know
true
that
crime story
Yeah.
I read. I was like 12 and I read Helter Skelter. And I read that book about 50 times. And it's just fascinating to me. Not that I want to be, if anybody ends up dead in my house, they're going to think I did it because I have all these serial killer books. And I have tons of them. I love to read true crime. And
Well,
it's the mental
Oh,
aspect.
it's true.
What makes this person go on a nut? How, I mean, we all have ups and downs, and not everybody's childhood is great, but not everybody turns into a serial killer.
Problem was he was a serial killer.
They're born. There's
He,
something in them.
he didn't actually kill anybody.
Nope.
He had other
And
people
Will,
do it for him.
he just had the power. You know, people.
Yeah, manipulation.
Yeah, people just like he said, jump, and they said, okay.
Minions. He had minions. He had that.
I had to comment, Carol.
What?
When you said if anything happens to somebody in your family and they look around your house, I had this conversation with Janet 2 weeks ago. I'm
What?
talking to her on the phone, and I encountered. I'm a sticky note person because I don't remember shit, so I got sticky notes everywhere. And
You got the CRS syndrome.
I'm talking to her, right? And I'm talking to her, and so I'm going through, like, I got to clean some of this out. Is it even matter anymore? It's been here. And I'm like, Janet, what would people say if something happened to me? Because here's a sticky note. Black man, little white dog, car, stabbed by white woman.
It's like, Janet, what does it mean?
Can I talk to you about this? Why do I have this written on paper? Where is this? Who does it pertain to? Well, did someone give me was it at work? And someone's like, oh, you got to check that out. And I figured I would recall the rest, but I should go to this place and
This
look up.
did not happen. You need to carry a recorder with you. Why you do?
So I have all these random sticky notes. Black man stabbed by white woman in car, little white dog. What else? Nothing. Nothing else.
Like, I have no clue on that one.
Are they dreams?
We were just talking
No,
about
we're
the
not
work.
That's
dreaming.
what I asked.
dream.
Was it a dream
I
or,
don't
you know?
dream.
Well,
You
you
sleep
you wake up and they say, jot down what you were. That would
No,
make sense.
somebody told me to write this down, and I don't know the who, what, why, when, or what it pertains to. It's in the garbage now.
Too. So it could be just random thoughts you have, Cassie. You know how you are.
It's not. I wouldn't have wrote down something that good. No, someone told me that, and I forgot. I didn't put all the puzzle on that note.
You put the key words in there.
Right.
Well, Carol's talking about serial killers, and I was going to mention that Ed Gein's from Wisconsin.
Oh my God, he wore the skin. Yes.
They actually, I believe they tore his house down, his old house.
The land's
Really?
the land's still there and empty, and the hardware store is still there.
Yeah, the hardware store is still there. I don't know.
Yeah.
if
It's
still
just
a
been
hardware
given a
store,
facelift.
The building.
It's been given a facelift.
But wouldn't it be kind of cool to follow like Ted Bundy's path and do investigations at the places where he killed and see if there's anything? Because those are the kind of my thing with the Amityville house. Now we know that was blown out of proportion, but it had to do with that kid going in there and killing his entire family before that. And all that. Yeah, that's
Bad
awful.
juju.
Well,
Huh?
That's
Hollywood's thrown a lot of that out of proportion. I mean, they took, a lot of those characters are based, from Leatherface to the guy in Psycho to all of those people were basically came from real life figures. They
Sure.
got that's where they got their inspiration from.
well, Leatherface from Chainsaw Massacre.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre, yeah.
I believe that was he was a character based on Ed Gein.
Right. I think you're right. Yes.
Yeah, he
And
is.
Leatherface. Yes.
So was Psycho. So was Psycho.
Well, yeah.
Keepers
Norman Bates.
Creepers. That was from Michigan.
Was it?
Yes, it was.
What was?
Jeepers Creepers.
Oh yeah.
The beginning part where the bodies are being thrown, in the
Yep.
tube or whatever.
On the tube.
Yeah.
So
It
was
actually
that
did
Virginia
happen.
you're a little quiet.
It did
Yeah,
happen.
bucket
And I'm
list,
sure if
Teresa?
you looked at any of them, Freddy Krueger, I'm sure there was this guy and there was that, vigilante justice, and they killed this guy that was molesting kids or doing inappropriate things, and I'm sure that happened somewhere, and that's where the stories come from. It's just
A
how
lot
you
of
take
the Hollywood stories do have some.
element of
This
truth.
much. There's about this much inkling of what is true in those Hollywood stories.
Well, yeah.
But
I'm not saying the
I
whole
was
thing.
laying on the fact
I'm
that
just
the
saying
Amityville house is
do have
haunted.
they do have that little bit of truth.
But you
behind it.
hear a story and it spikes.
He's talking.
And it spikes.
This is our show. I'm waiting for poor Mark to get a word in, and he starts talking and boom.
You know what, Mark? Give it up, because you know what? I have to raise my hand, and Cassie can tell you how many times I say, and then I say,
I
you,
forgot what I had to say. So
and then it's like,
you remember what you had to say?
and then it's just like, whatever, forget it.
Well, anyway, now, Teresa, since you started talking, do you have anything on a bucket list to go anywhere?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear it.
You know what? I don't really, because I guess as far as the rest, I'm nowhere near as knowledgeable or into like other, I don't know how to explain it. I like it because like when I started with Phenomenon, it had nothing to do with because I've followed ghost hunters all my life, or it had more to do with I've had been driving down the road and I've had somebody yell Teresa Marie and like me snap out of it and stop me from having an accident, or I woke up in the middle of the night and swore to God somebody was this guy I dated was standing next to my bed, and I like went like this. It was so real. So I've had that kind of thing, but I've never really, like, when you watch the shows, like paranormal shows, to be honest, I think they're boring. And then I've watched people and I've seen like, they'll be, then now I realize, it's taken them 3 days to get an hour worth of footage that I still find is boring. So it's like, but I'm intrigued with, I totally believe. I don't know. I think I would love to go to Salem, just because that's like whatever, everybody wants to do that. But I think more than anything else, I think I would like to go to New Orleans.
Yes.
New Orleans has a lot of history.
And I don't know why I do.
Lafayette
but
Cemetery, New Orleans.
But
That would
I
be a definite bucket list place to go
but I think
because they
Been
have
to
a
both. To this
there.
one?
I would say
No.
I would say New Orleans or Ireland. I don't know why those two. England,
Ireland, yeah.
England, and I
Well,
think
one of my
because there's a lot of folklore that comes from
yep.
there, and that comes from something.
Something.
Well,
Yeah.
one of the places I'd actually like to go is Scotland. I'd like to go to
Yeah,
the
exactly.
Roslyn
That
Chapel.
Oh, all over there.
And you've heard of the Roslyn Chapel, right?
Yep.
Yep. That's up in the Highlands of Scotland.
Yeah.
I would love to go visit that.
but honestly, I would like to go places that um everyone doesn't say been there, done that. Do you know what I'm saying? I would
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
I don't want to be one of those been there done that type thing. And that's why like when we do investigations and that, I find it more interesting to do a house investigation than I do to be somewhere where everyone else says they found something.
Right, right.
I
Yep.
agree, but then 2020 happened, and
Exactly.
right. So that's really just kicked everything to the curb for a second. You know, screwed everything up. You know,
Right.
we had a couple of
We had to
investigations.
cancel a lot of things.
I
Yeah,
have a question for everybody on the panel because you guys are newbies. What is the most interesting thing you thought or an epiphany you had since you started ghost hunting? Mine is I really thought we would get more shit.
Oh, me too.
I didn't.
The evidence is rare. And I mean, you can have things happening with your machines, but
we're
in
big
true
debunkers.
science,
Yeah.
is it happening? Is it you know what I mean? And we can have different things correlating. But there's only 2 or 3 things in 2 years that I would deem for ourselves true evidence, but I don't even know if we could put it out there and have others believe. And another weird thing is you're supposed to, like, I'm into para-unity and everything, but I don't know how many times I look at other people's stuff and go, really? You think that's real? Like, why are you thinking that it's fact? Like, so I'm debunking other people's stuff and
That's fun.
it's
It's fun to debunk other people's stuff. In fact, we have done that. I actually go as far as debunking my own stuff before I even say I have.
Me too.
We
We
put
do have a
stuff out
team.
there and then said, "Oh no, wait a minute."
I'm my own worst
It's just
critic.
Well, you know
We
what
have to
though?
talk each other off the ledge, and like, yeah, no.
Well, that's one thing I'll say our team has is the integrity when it comes to stuff. We can put stuff out there on our page and you'll always know it's kind of just a filler because we'll say, oh, what do you think about this?
What do you think? You
But
know, we want
you
other
can-
people's views.
You can tell when we really think we have something because we'll give a whole story behind it and what happened. And we'll already say there was none of this there and there was no wind and
I don't think anybody
you don't put everything out there. And as true scientific, I think we're some more scientific investigators.
Well,
We debunk everything and we document everything. And me being the photographer, I don't do it if you can. I cannot use any photography that I take. If you can see your breath outside and it's too cold, you can't document any of that as true because your breath photographs.
But when you're talking about paranoid,
step in a room and just do shots from the doorway before we cross this floor and kick up all the dust that now is going to be in all of the pictures. You know what I mean? So I will keep the team back and go first, point my camera first before anybody crosses the floor. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
We do a lot of stuff in our team that sets parameters to try to keep that false stuff down, you know.
as much as you can.
There's a difference when we talk about para-unity, in that and when we talk about debunking, and yes, there's a difference between debunking and then there are teams that shall not be named to diss other teams because their equipment isn't good enough or not as good as theirs. So it ends up being it's a who can slam each other. It ends up not even being about ghost hunting. Or,
Yeah, we talked to of them.
and I think that's
We're better because we spent more money on our equipment.
and that instead of sharing
About the equipment.
para-unity to me should be more about it about saying, well, you know what, this worked for us. Does it work for you? Or we use this equipment and how do you feel about it? It shouldn't be about, oh, you use that equipment. Well, yeah, that's a joke.
Right.
Well, no, when I asked in the beginning what kind of equipment you guys use, I wasn't looking to find out.
No.
No, what I'm saying in general.
No. Just hang on.
No.
We didn't mean
But
it
the
towards
reason,
you.
no. I'm not taking it that way.
Okay, good. Because it was not directed at you at all.
Well, here's
No, I
one thing I
understand
do
that.
think.
But
We do have
I
better
asked-
equipment than just
the
dowsing
reason I
rods.
asked is because no, right. But the reason I asked is because everybody does things differently. All these teams
Sure.
out here and the people that we talk to and interview, everyone does things differently, and everybody has
Yeah,
different pieces of
no.
equipment. Some
Yeah.
actually work well with it, and some don't. That's why that's why whenever I ask, I'm curious of what you're
Right.
using, and if I hear something that I haven't heard before, I'll ask about that
Yeah.
because I want to know about it.
Right.
So if it's a piece of equipment that someone's using that I haven't used or I haven't seen before, then I'll ask about it. But if you're using the same kind of equipment I'm using, great. Or if you're using the same kind of equipment that someone else is using,
Yeah.
that's great too.
Oh no, I agree.
Well, we've had people on that we've also liked to, we've learned from, kind of look at them as like a mentor. They've been doing this since the 70s.
Right.
So you're
Oh,
talking
yeah.
about they've been doing this for 40 plus years.
Yeah.
So, and then
look,
we've met,
They have evolved with the equipment.
and then we've met other people in the field where, they gave us advice because they knew we were like when we were just starting out last year and we went out to do the Witches of Whitewater. And we met the U.S. Paranormal Research Team.
wow.
And they gave us a few tips, and then we actually ended up having them on our show eventually.
Yeah,
Oh, nice.
they were guests last month, I think it was.
I know you'll laugh, but I have to show you this. Do you see this picture?
Yes.
Kinda.
That's why. This is why I took your picture, because more times than not, those ears line up with your head.
Oh my God, yes, we do.
Well, when I say
I didn't even notice that. Yes, we do.
see,
So-
that's me though.
Oh yeah, see,
That's the
you
other
wouldn't
me
know
right
what
here.
I was trying
the
to
other
catch
me.
it. I was trying to catch it, and you were moving. But even when you started to laugh, like a few minutes ago, they lined up again. So it's like more times than not, you have ears.
That's okay.
That's funny.
If I found out that werewolves and vampires and all this stuff was actually real,
Vampires
would
are
love
real.
it.
I told you, I
just
am a
hush,
vampire.
Yeah, there.
If I found
See?
out,
Whoa.
if I found out that
I
these
believe in vamps.
were true and real, this is my choice. This is what I would want to be.
Oh, I would love
A
it.
lichen. I would rather be a lichen than a vampire. And the reason is lichens are just about as strong as a vampire. They live just about as long, and they can walk around in the daytime.
And they don't have to drink blood.
Exactly. But you do.
Yeah, thank
I mean,
you.
I don't mind eating meat, but I don't want to
Raw
drink
meat.
blood.
So, Joe, have you heard of the Traverse City vampire?
No.
Okay, you can Facebook Google him. I grew up with him. He's the vampire from Traverse City. He's also a rock and roller in a band.
Well, I make
Or is it?
No, not Alice Cooper.
I make jokes about things. You know, I was diagnosed with leukemia back in '95. So, and before that, my brother was kind of calling me a vampire because I was a third shifter. So, you know, I'd go to sleep when the sun was coming up, and I'd wake up when the sun was going down.
We always refer to ourselves like that too.
You know, and so, and then I ate all the beef products and stuff pretty rare, you know, like bloody rare. And then I end up with a blood cancer, so I kind of had to make fun about it. And then the
Absolutely.
the Manson thing was I'm driving down the road because my mom, before she passed away, she couldn't drive ever, so I was like her cab driver. So I took her everywhere, and I was taking her to the doctor's office, and she just out of the blue looks over at me and she's like, "Anybody ever tell you look like Charles Manson?"
I swear to
And it's
God,
like, "Thanks a lot, Mom."
when you pulled that picture up, I was thinking
Yeah.
the same thing. You are right.
My beard was a lot thicker then and a lot less gray at that point when she said that. But yeah.
And you know what my answer would? I would have said, "Well, you know, Mom, you made me."
Well, I've kind of had fun ever since, you know. I don't know how many times I've watched Helter Skelter. So
I've read that book so many times. It's just fascinating. That whole manipulation thing and being able to make people, maybe that's what I'm trying to figure out, is how to make people do stuff for me.
Yeah.
'Cause I do need to cook up.
But you know what, Carol? That's what I was saying. Is that you're born with it, and I mean not for like bragging things, but like my older son Bud, in that he literally he has a posse, and he's always had this following. And it got to even now that he's 35 and he still has this same group of guys that he's always hung out with, and they're gotten married and have kids. And one of the comments that their wives or girlfriends say is, if Bud jumped off a cliff, would you go? And the same thing is, like, Bud got a motorcycle, they all bought motorcycles, you know, he gets to do it. He just has that personality that people are just willing to follow and do whatever he does. And I think it's something you're born with. And I think
look at all those
born with it.
look at all those cult leaders.
Floyd.
Jim Jones,
Yeah,
David Koresh,
Yeah.
they're just born with
you
it.
know.
But it just
Charisma.
seems like it's charisma is, I mean,
Yeah, my mom used to call it it.
it.
Yeah,
I was
they just
talking
have
about that
it
the other day, having it. Yeah.
and
And
stuff.
it's it. You can't explain it. It's just it.
They know how to read people and then
That's the big
and
deal.
then exploit the weaknesses.
Yep.
And you know, and I don't even know if that's always it, because I'll tell you, I mean, yes, like I said, with my son, like he's like I am. He can, you know, I read people, but I could never get somebody to follow like he does. You know, I've never had a wish to, but you know, people used to pay him money to be seen with him down the hallway. I am not kidding. He had girls.
You know,
I get
He
that
had
all the
girls.
time.
He had girls that would pay him $5 to walk him from class to class.
well, I was pretty popular in high school, but I wasn't that popular.
I mean, that's just
But
insane.
I had people that would follow me around, and half the time I didn't even know why.
Right.
You know,
So you're a cult
I was
leader?
the one that sat in the back of the class.
No.
I knew everybody, talked to everybody. I was never in a clique, but I was never close to one person at all.
well, before that I was
Background.
like that was just my senior year in high school. Before that, I was I was like a nobody in school and getting my ass kicked all the time and having to fight all the time because I was the outsider in this small little country hick
Yeah.
town out in the middle of nowhere, population about 400. You
Wow.
know, yeah, and I'm from the big city, so I didn't fit in. You know,
Right.
Well, if you were like I was,
So-
I came from Detroit to Canton, and everybody was okay with me until they found out that I came from Detroit, and then they were afraid of me.
I know. People still are, and I use it too. I'm a
And you
nobody.
know what? And
You don't want to mess with me. We're from Detroit.
You know what?
and you know what the funny thing is with me?
Well, they
The
can
only,
get one on you.
and it was funny because the only reason this kid even found out that it came up that I was raised in Detroit is you know how kids used to stick their knees up on a bus in your back,
Yep.
and that it's the most annoying gosh damn thing. So I had told this kid, and turned around once. I told him, please stop. Wouldn't stop. I turned around a second time. I said, look, if I turn around a third time, I've asked you twice. I said, if I turn around a third time, you're not going to be happy. And I turned around, and he did it again. And third time, I turned around and I popped him in the face. And you know what? And then people didn't like me anymore. I mean, go figure.
yeah,
That's okay. I didn't become popular in school until 6th grade because in 6th grade I whipped the snot out of the bully.
that's what I did my senior
Ah,
year.
nice. Nice.
And after I did that, the other bully left me the hell alone, and
That's right.
anybody that got bullied came to me and asked for my help.
Well,
All you gotta do is show yourself up once.
I
Well, I was
also
always a timid person. I never did anything. I'd always just kind of turn the other cheek, and not and walk away. And it just got so bad one time, and my mom actually she knew something was up, and she asked me what was going on, and I told her nothing. I was like, nothing. I'm fine. Nothing's wrong. And she just kept pestering and pestering and pestering. And then I finally told her. I said, well, there's these two kids that are bullies. They're screwing with me at school, and I can't do anything about it because if I do, I'm gonna get sent to the principal,
Yeah.
and then I'm gonna have to deal with all that. She looks at me and she goes, that kid messes with you again, you turn around and whip his ass. And if the principal has anything to say about it, he's got to talk to me.
Good mom. You had a
Okay.
good mom.
She gave me permission. She literally gave me permission to whip his ass, and I whipped his ass.
Good.
My
You had a good mom.
I didn't have to worry about getting into
gotta
that one
do.
fight. I got into
That
one
was
fight,
only one fight. That was it.
but then people found out who I was and who I was related to and who I was possibly related to because of my last name, and they just backed off and left me alone. You
Well,
know,
yeah, if I thought you were offspring of Charles Manson, I wouldn't
No.
fuck with you either.
my one family was pretty bad news in Madison.
They still are.
They were more infamous, and then because of my last name, people thought I had ties to the mafia
Oh.
Oh.
because
His name Joe. What is your last name?
I'm Italian. So
What's the last name?
my last name's Carvalho. So I still have relations in Italy.
Oh,
Ah.
So
Okay.
So I have this person. I got a private message.
Shoot, the only famous person anybody ever wanted to associate me with was Karen and Richard Carpenter. And it used to be funny because I got sick of it, and they would say, do you know Karen and Richard? And I'd say, yes, I do, which I do, but not the Karen and Richard that they meant. My dad's name was Richard and my cousin's name was Karen.
That's funny. No.
Yeah, well, I'm a transplant from California, so
no.
Oh, that's boring. You got to come up with some interesting stories from that.
I have all kinds of crap. I dated a woman who was a witch. She practiced the dark
A
arts.
witch or a bitch or
Yeah,
both.
right.
But no,
Is there a difference?
she practiced. She actually practiced the dark arts, and she would
And
actually do stuff that was considered taboo.
Well,
Yeah.
that must have been before your ex-wife, huh?
And yes, that's before my
wouldn't that wouldn't that worry you about breaking up with her?
no.
I know. How scary.
Yeah, that would be, wouldn't
It never
it? She
it
probably
never
cursed
bothered
his
me.
ass.
No, I never had a problem with it because you know knowing what I know in
Maybe that's why you're
the
bald.
wicked. That's hereditary. I can't help that. I forgot to get the polishing brush and go, before it shines. But but no, I've seen and done so much crap when I was younger. I'm kind of jaded to everything.
My sister dabbles in Wicca, and I used to be afraid to tell her no about anything. But I'm like, she's
But
like, stop.
Yeah, I would curse
Janet here,
her.
Janet dabbles in it.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Which is why I'm
I
fat.
love the herb aspect of it all. I'm just a earth
There's a lot of cool
person.
herbs.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some cool herbs out there. That's
Uh,
Well, the
Not
thing
those
the thing
crap,
with
too.
the thing
yeah.
Wicca and paganism, they're very similar to each other, and it's all based in the natural world.
Yeah.
Right, right,
Everything about
right.
it's natural. I still do stuff with my crystals. I have crystals.
Yeah.
I have one that's not
Teresa,
even my
Teresa
crystal
likes the
anymore.
crystals.
Teresa's the crystal lady.
Yeah.
No, I
She
want
joined
to
our
be.
group and we asked her, what would you like to learn most about,
See,
or what would you want to
that
be?
one right there that one's not mine anymore.
What
It's
is
what?
that?
It's a quartz crystal.
Okay.
But this one was mine for many a year, and I have to find where I can get some leather to make a pouch for it for a certain somebody who it now belongs to. My grandson was here uh,
Leon.
before all this COVID crap hit, and he was here, and we were doing stuff in here, and I have it sitting here all the time on my by my monitor, and he's seen that I had crystals, and he was talking to me about them and asking me about them, and then he's seen that one, and he didn't do anything else except for reach over and pick it up, and he goes, "Papa, I really like this one," and that was it.
Yep, that's
I
how
knew,
you
I
choose your
knew at that
crystal.
moment. I knew at that moment that crystal didn't want to
That
be with me
is.
anymore.
Yeah.
It's
It's
Good for
his.
him.
Well,
Yeah.
you know, it's funny. I believe that because I have this piece of amethyst, and I had a bunch of them. And you know what's funny? I have it saved because my puppy, when I got him new, this is out of all my rocks, this is the one he decided he wanted. So I,
You
so
should put that in his collar or something for your
yeah,
dog
they
protection.
they
Yeah,
actually
I can
do
draw
that. They have it where you can like wrap it up and.
oh,
But I have it saved in this tape so I can remember that this is the one out of all because I had them all out there and he decided that was the one that was his.
that is it.
But if you need leather, there's a place called Joann's and Michael's that have small pieces of leather.
and this one here,
Yeah.
this is my newest.
What is that? I can't tell.
Um, I can't remember what it is. It's a black. It's almost like a flint type
Tourmaline
rock, but it's black. It might be tourmaline.
or onyx.
No, it's not an onyx.
Nah.
It might be tourmaline.
But I'm thinking it's tourmaline. But
Tourmaline is for protection.
here. You want to hear the story on this one?
Sure.
Yeah.
I got this in 2016. We were on a trip early year 2016. My daughter, her husband. Well, he wasn't her husband at the time. They were dating living with us. Me, my girlfriend, and my grandson. My granddaughter hasn't came around at that time. This is the pouch that it was in. That came in. So we went out to visit my parents in California. And we spent a couple of days out there, and then on our way back, we stopped in Las Vegas and stayed the night. And the following morning or afternoon, it was closer to 12 o'clock. When we left the hotel, we went to have lunch. Well, there's a restaurant called In and Out Burger, which is really popular on the West Coast.
Yes.
We pulled in, and I got out of the van, and I looked down right next to the back tire. This is laying there.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
I reached down and picked it up. I didn't know what was in this pouch at the time. I reached down, picked it up, and opened it, and that was in there.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
There's
Found you.
Oh,
Things
yes,
like
you
things like
find.
that happen to me all the time.
It found you.
Yes, that rock or that stone found me. It wasn't me finding it; it found me.
It found you. That's very cool.
Yeah.
I have several.
I believe in a lot of that kind of
Karma.
what's the word for it.
I don't believe in coincidence.
It's
No,
that's
coincidence.
not the word coincidence.
If you want
That's
to, if you
another
want to have
word.
a coincidence, it takes a hell of a lot of planning.
Yes, it does. Absolutely.
So I believe in all that. I also started paying a few years ago when I started getting into more of the metaphysical. I'm a Catholic, so but when I started getting more into ghost hunting, and it just automatically takes you into these other realms. And but I've always played with crystals my whole life, and I have a joke. What we have a running joke because I'm like, oh, if you're having trouble with that and you can't figure it out, you got to try my Catholic witchcraft. Go do this because us
On this
Catholics
thing,
have lots of
or-
rituals and lots of saints and different things you can call upon and do.
And it all does coexist with each other.
So
you
if she
know?
loses something, I'm like,
I make these.
yeah.
The leather pouches.
Yep.
Oh, well, good. You got them on your website, or
No, I don't. I don't make them to sell. I make them when I
well,
have.
maybe you should. I know a lot of people that would probably buy them.
Do mojo bags for
Yes.
protection and put them on
Do
your.
you believe that those crystals
We're
Well-
crafters.
Yeah, we do.
work as well for you in a pouch? Because everything that I've looked into, they say that the crystals really don't perform. I guess their properties don't work as well unless they're touching your skin. How do you feel
I
about that?
think though that the male.
This.
Well, I know a lot of people that have the
This
mojo
out-
bags and they'll put them on
this
their
is
belt
Okay.
and stuff.
What, Mark?
I think
This
with
out-
men,
I
men
think
have to
it's-
carry the pouches because they don't have bras to put them in.
That's right. That's right.
Mark, what were you saying?
The
Hey,
pouches
good to
I
know
make
somewhere else.
are made from leather. They're leather.
Okay,
So leather. You
It's
know what
good.
leather is, right?
right, of
Yeah.
course.
Leather is dried tan
Telling you.
skin.
Leather skin just like
Um,
mine.
So you don't. So
This,
with
this is made from cowhide, goat hide, rabbit hide,
Right, it's skin.
horse hide, anything can be made from that's leather.
Yeah.
So what
Natural.
you're doing is when you're making leather pouches and you're putting crystals in them, it's still skin, a type of skin that it's transmitting through.
Yeah.
I just was wondering because whether or not, because I understand leather is skin, but the when you look at it and they say like the properties of the crystals touching your skin, I guess I never really thought about it being like any animal skin, like a leather pouch. To me, it means like to touch the person's skin who's wearing it.
No, it
I
doesn't
think-
necessarily have to be that way. I mean, some people
As long as they have it on them,
it's
close
more,
to
it's
them.
more or less what the person how the person feels about it. That's kind of how that is. their ideas and their feelings about it. Because for me, you know, I actually being that I practice Wicca and stuff like that, I can actually see auras. I can also take a person who has a very upsetting incident, and I can transfer positive energy into them while removing their negative energy
Wow.
and calm them down. I've actually calmed a person down in less than 5 minutes by doing that.
So do you do Reiki?
No,
No, just your other methods.
yeah, it's just
Can I
just
dump this or is there anything?
See, I've never had that. People tell me that, and it wasn't until I joined this group that I realized that I am what they consider an empath. I never even occurred to me that that's was what I am until like, but I would have like, I'd be talking to people, and the whole time they're talking to me, this voice in my head would say, "Why are you talking to me? You and I both know you don't like me." Or I would have, or I'd be standing in the grocery store and all I wanted is the gosh damn sample. And next thing I know, this woman's been divorced and she's gone to marriage counselor and she's got 6 kids and two of them are drug addicts and one of them and I'm like, and all I can think of is like I kept and it's been like that all of my life,
Yes. Energy. Yep.
and I never
Yeah.
well,
I never realized that it had a name. And then I had people like when I joined military group, I had a lot of people would say to me, "You would know what? I really just like talking to you because you're so calming." And I'm like, I don't do anything. I don't say anything in particular to them. Honestly, all I really do is just listen. But they would tell me that the tone of my voice just made them calmer. And then I realized after being with this group that, like, I think I'm an empath.
well,
I have something
don't feel that
interesting
you're
to say.
alone in that. Don't feel that you're alone in that because the same shit happens to me.
And it's
And
insane.
I get dumped on a lot. Yeah, a lot of people come to me and just I have girlfriends that I never hear from, and then once a year or whatever, I mean crying.
I had
Just to dump on me.
I had one girlfriend. She called me and yelled at me for 20 minutes. She yelled at me for 20 minutes, and I'm not talking like just normal. I mean like all out screaming, yelled at me for 20 minutes. I didn't get a word in edgewise, and finally I said, "Did you just call me to yell at me?" And like she bitched about her husband and her kid and all this stuff, and she said, "Well, yeah, because I needed to get it out or whatever." So, the next thing I'm thinking, well, this is really like making me feel terrible. So I I said, I made up this thing and I said, "Oh, Dwayne, hang on, don't move that by yourself. I'll help you. Just hang on." I'm like, "Oh, I gotta go." And I'm like, and I hung up on her because I just seriously couldn't handle being yelled at anymore. She just called me to yell at me because she needed somebody to yell at.
She needed
I often wonder.
you were her venting
Yeah,
avenue. That's what it was.
yeah. She just it's like, so now I have to tell her, I'm like, if you're gonna. And then when I said something, she's like, "Well, yeah, I guess that was kind of like bad." But I noticed like since I joined the group too, I've become more open to it because like I went to a funeral and I cried more at this funeral than I cried at my husband's funerals when they died. I had to go outside and my kids they were laughing at me. I had to go out in the car, get my crystals, and I rubbed them together like this and I said, "Oh, for the love of God, will you please help me?" And I threw them in my bra. That's why she said about your bra, so that I could go back in because it was just like so overwhelming. I mean, I was bawling like a baby. I didn't even know. I said, I can't handle this. I'm like, yep, empath thing I think's going on.
I wonder if a lot of empathic people, if that's just because I've never met so many empaths since I became an investigator and started networking with other investigators. And I wonder if that's almost a precursor to pick up those energies that you can't see with your tangible senses. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, no, it could actually be, you know.
because I
Um,
know I'm an emotional empath, but I get more than yeah, I have the same experiences. I sit at a bus stop and people tell me their whole story and go, I don't even know why I told you that. I'm like, that's okay. I do know why. And I'll tell you later, you know?
well, you know,
And so it's good. I've kind of learned that that's what I was born to do. Certain people have to take on these roles. But like, for instance, my son just had his wisdom teeth removed. And I was talking to Janet earlier and I said, I feel like I don't feel his physical pain, but I said inside I can feel the agitation and the misery and I'm wearing it. And I'm walking through the house going, like, get out of. And I'm picking that up, and he's in his bedroom in a recliner on pain meds, and I'm going, he had a bad day at work, and I'm wearing his coat, and I don't want to wear it, you know, and I pick that up. I am that bad where if I'm around somebody, I pick up all their emotions. And it wasn't until a few years ago when I started reading all of this outside of the box literature. And there's a book called The Four Elements, and it's about four different types of empaths. And I used to term it 20 years ago when I was young and hormonal that I was a rager. I had some kind of rage syndrome. And reading this book, I realized that I was an emotional empath and I wasn't a rager at all. I was expressing all these other people's emotions. And now that I'm, you know, more mature, I'm learning how to
I hope you use
realize
that
what
for
emotions are my own and what I'm getting from other people and how to determine that. You know what I mean?
I've had to say things when things are going on with my kids or other people. I've had to stop myself and say, "This is not my problem. I have a good life." And I have to because they'll be like having money problems and they have all these problems, and I start feeling stressed, and I have to say, you know what? This isn't my problem. I have a good life. I have this. I have this. I have that, and I have to list it down, or else it
so
gets overwhelming.
you got to refocus.
Yeah, it gets overwhelming for
Yeah,
me.
yeah. I've learned over the years how to kind of push some of it to the side. I'll let it flow through, but I'll just push it to the side and give it its own channel.
Well, I wished I knew how to do that
Right. Right.
Okay.
because
Well,
I don't
Oh,
understand.
yes, Joe.
we're over the limit.
It's no limit.
Oh,
You know what?
No limit.
this is common, and we brought him out just to show you what we've done.
This is what we do.
This show has went on for 3.5 hours.
We got us one
Well-
of these, our production manager. We just and it tells us when the hour is up.
Is that what was going tweet, tweet, tweet behind you?
No, that's her bird. That's
No,
Teresa's bird.
She's got a
Oh,
bird.
can you really hear my birds? They're
Yes.
three
I
rooms
mean-
away.
I
But
just
he
wanted to
has
mention
a bit.
that we were
My-
past the normal. It's
My
no big
cock
deal.
tails and my
It's
parrot.
no big deal. We've actually went. We actually did this with another person that we interviewed. We went just a little over 2
We're
hours.
2 hours. Yeah.
Oh my God, we did a
We've been
3 hour
3.5,
one time.
Well, see, that's
And
the
it was in person. They came to us.
But that's a good thing because
see,
we're having
that's what
fun.
right.
We're
That's what I like
enjoying
about.
it.
That's what I like about some of our guests that we get in.
Yeah, it's
We'll get to talking, and of course, Joe over here, he's Mr. Quiet. He just kind of
Yeah,
sits
yeah.
and listens. So that you got to watch out for him because
You
he's
just gotta
listening
poke
in
them
the audio.
here and there.
Well, you can't get a word in edgewise. So.
But no. When we get a group or a person that we can connect with and actually have fun talking to, this is what happens.
Yeah.
We end up going over.
So it is your podcast. Do you want to, since you're over now, reel it in? And did you have any other questions for
Oh
us?
no,
Fill in some
no,
gaps?
no! I was having fun. Either that, we can end it. We can sit behind the
Actually,
scenes,
it
whatever.
I am needing to use the restroom.
Well, you can walk away.
Well, then I suggest we end it and we can talk behind the scenes still.
Yeah,
If you want.
that's fine with me. I just need to.
Okay. Well, then I got one announcement to make. Next Wednesday, which is not only my eldest daughter's birthday, we're having Karen Frey from Kep Paranormal and Festival of the Unexplained as our guest.
Ooh. Oh, we love that.
And that's going to be the last guest of the year
Yeah.
until next year, because we're going to take a break and do some revamping of a few things.
Yeah, that's what we're in the middle of.
You want to plug your Facebook page and your
Yeah.
YouTube page?
Come on, Janet.
Janet.
On Facebook,
We're on-
Phenomena
Yeah.
Paranormal Investigators.
PPI. Wait, which way? We're backwards.
Yeah.
No, you're actually right.
PPI.
Oh,
It's
Can't
right.
get boob in there. There you go.
It's right.
Huh?
We, like I said, we do got a YouTube channel on. We're just really, starting to work it.
There's
So
not a lot
hopefully-
of stuff on it. A few investigations in our very first Ghost Buzz that we were watching, and it's hilarious. And what we found
Those like
Ghost Buzz, again, we just threw ourselves on Facebook one day, then became known, and then we're like, we're going to start this talk show, the Ghost Buzz,
And then
kind of
people
like a
are
news
saying,
thing.
when are you having us on?
Yeah, we're actually, next season will be our 4th season, and we already have people
Oh,
knocking, when's our turn? When's our turn? When's our turn? It's weird.
That's cool.
And we've done a lot with our ghosts. I'd like to say, not only we're not just paranormal investigators.
No.
We like to give back to the community. We adopted a highway primarily so we could get a sign with our name on it for Halloween. But we had to clean the highway.
you know what though? That might have been the thing, but that was some hard ass work.
But
Yeah,
people are so jealous we got a sign.
Right.
And then we entered
Right
a
on Michigan
scarecrow.
Avenue. Phenomena Paranormal Investigators adopted this
Awesome.
highway.
cool.
And all
Plus,
those
we
other
planted a
things.
garden at the Westland Historic Village Park.
Yeah, we adopted
Yeah, we
that.
have our garden.
Planted a whole herb garden.
And then we had our scarecrow in the contest.
Herbs and made smudge sticks.
Yeah. And it's,
That was the herb garden from hell.
oh, yeah.
But anyway,
we try to give back. So
We give back
help
to the community and help out. And in turn, the village let us do some of their buildings pro bono because we do help out there. So we get to investigate.
Right.
That's cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is fun. It is fun. It's kind of fun to get out there and we have had more success with Ghost Buzz than I think we ever anticipated. It was just a reason for us to play on Facebook and be drunk. Caught on, I mean, not to say but we have so much fun on that show. And
Yeah.
it's
Very similar to what we did tonight.
Yeah, we just have to learn that. Not
We're
to
primarily
overdo
Facebook, Phenomena Paranormal Investigators, PPI, located in Westland, Michigan. We're primarily Facebook. We do have some stuff on YouTube. You can follow us there, but our page, again, we're into Paraunity. Everybody on God's green earth that is into the paranormal posts on our page. So if you're
Yeah.
looking for somebody go on our page.
Post your crap. Yep. We put everything up.
Cool.
Yeah. So.
Yep.
Matter of fact, our stuff's getting lost a lot of times.
Yeah, this is true.
We're surprised you found us, the owners of the page, and not somebody else to be on your show.
And thank you so much for that. We appreciate that. And
I
thank
do
you
my
for
research.
You probably regret that now,
Trying
but
to do
thank you.
something.
Organic.
Well,
Some
we
of it
do
kinda
have some
kicked us
great
over
people
the
that
ass
post on
and,
our page. So yeah, check it out.
in a
Even if you're
hiatus,
not
so.
seeing our stuff, we got quite a few great investigators that post on our page. So yes, check those stuff.
Thank you for having us on yours.
No,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you for coming on. All right. Till next week.
Till
We
next.
are
Till next
out of
week.
here. Stay safe, everyone.
Stay
You
safe.
too.